Happy Tag Tuesday! If you're new here, my name is Becca and today I'm doing the no disclaimers tag. This tag was created by Catalyst Reads and I was tagged by Ali from Hardback Hoarder to do this for you guys, and I'll link both of their channels down below. This is essentially a tag where you talk about books and bookish things that you don't like, which I'm really excited to do because I actually like talking about some negative books sometimes. So let's just get into it. So question number 1 is, which trope or tropes annoy you the most? So for this I've gone with the arrogant main character because I've been reading a lot of paranormal fiction written in like between 2000 and 2010, and I've noticed it's very frequent there. So you have a female main character, and you know the type I mean, where she's like, oh, I'm the most popular person in school, I'm a cheerleader, I'm gonna be prom queen, everybody loves me, I have 1 million friends. Like, I literally hate that character. I hate it so much. All of the popular ones that I know a lot of you don't like, things like love triangles and the plain main character and manic pixie dream girls, I absolutely love. So it was really hard for me to pick one for this because I'm not actually much of a trope hater, but that one really does get on my nerves. This is one you're all gonna hate me for. Question number 2 is, which author or authors do you feel are overrated or overhyped? For this one, I've gone for Cassandra Clare. Now, before you all jump on that unsubscribe button, let me just clarify my feelings here. I like Cassandra Clare. I read The Mortal Instruments and loved it. I didn't love this series so much, and I have the first 2 books in the Dark Artifices, which I don't think you can quite see, and I'm excited to read them. However, I think with her having at least 2 more series planned, that it may be time to let the Shadowhunter world go. I mean, there's only so many books I can be interested in Shadowhunters for, and when I first read The Mortal Instruments, I was really excited that this world was never going to end. But now I kind of find myself rolling my eyes every time I hear there's going to be another Shadowhunter book. So not necessarily overrated / overhyped, because I do really like her work, but I think that she's really drawing out the Shadowhunter world and it may be time for it to come to an end. Question number 3 is, what are your least favourite books that you've read since joining BookTube? And there are quite a few that I haven't really loved, but these are ones that I haven't rated low just because they're bad or I didn't like them. These ones I actually hate with a burning passion. The first one is Silence by Becca Fitzpatrick, and if you've been with me for a few months you'll know that I do actually really like the Hush Hush series. However, this book was pointless and didn't need to exist. Nora spends the first half of the book with no memory, so we as a reader have to learn everything that we already know again with her, which is just pointless. As well as that, the actual memory loss part did not serve any purpose to the plot and I just found it really unnecessary. Then we have White Cat by Holly Black, which I read in January and I really didn't like. I've now decided that I won't read another Holly Black book because she's just not for me. I like the bare bones of her plot, but it's her writing that isn't really a good fit with me. I don't find her to be descriptive enough, and I don't seem to gel with any of the characters in any of the books by her that I've read. And I also don't think that she does a good job of explaining the world. We're sort of thrown into it as though we already know. And throughout this book at least, there never really came a time in the book where the world, the magic system, or anything like that was fully explained to me. So by the end of this book, I still didn't really know what kind of world we were in. Question number 4 is a terrible ending that ruined an otherwise quality book. For this one, I've gone for Paper Towns by John Green. I really like John Green. I like the manic pixie dream girl, as I just said, and I like his unrealistic to most people and unrelatable teenage characters and the way that they talk. I do like his plots, but by the time I got to the end of this book, I wondered why I'd even bothered to read it. This one's about a guy who lives across the road from a girl, and they were friends when they were younger, but she's since become popular and he's a bit of a loser. And then she goes missing and he finds lots of clues that make him believe that she left them for him to go and find her. That's all I'm gonna say, but by the time I got to the end, I just didn't know why I'd read this book. Number 5 is, which fictional character or characters do you wish hadn't been killed? And for this, I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but I am just going to show you one book and mention another because I don't have a physical copy, and you either know or you don't know. So the first one is Nevernight by J. Kristoff, And the second one is Half Lost by Sally Green. Question number 6 is what are some of your bookish pet peeves? And I'm guessing that these are things that aren't directly related to books, but just anything bookish in general, so dog-earing pages and things like that. I don't generally have any problems with how people treat their books. The only thing that does get me is cracking spines on purpose. Like, I used to call my best friend Ryan a spine cracker because every time he borrowed a book, the spine would come back cracked. So that gets me a little bit, although I'm not too bothered anymore. Dog-earing pages and annotating I personally don't do, but I don't have a problem with other people that do them. But these are some things that do get on my nerves. The first one is edition changes in books. Cover changes do get on my nerves, and that's the reason that I have not bought the Diviners series and will not buy it until all of the books are released and I can buy a full set of covers. But this one is edition changes. So what I'm talking about specifically here, because this is the one that's really pissed me off recently, the Red Queen series by Victoria Aveyard. Now, as you may be able to see with the relative size of these compared to my head, is that these are overly large paperbacks. Now, I really loved Red Queen, so much that I went to a sign-in, and it's the only one I've been to. I got it personalised and signed. These books you have to buy pretty much as soon as the book comes out, because if you leave it a few months in the UK, they put them in normal paperback size. So, I got Red Queen in a large paperback, King's Cage, large paperback, Glass Sword, large paperback. As you may know, Warstorm is being released in May, and normally what I do with books that I really like is I purchase them in hardback if I can. But I've never been able to access a hardback of Red Queen because they are only sold in the US and they're not on Book Depository. So I collected the most special UK ones you could have, which were the overlarge paperbacks that are only available for a few months after the book is released. So what I found out last month is that Victoria Aveyard is not making a large paperback in the UK anymore. She's making a hardback. So Warstorm will be released in hardback. So I'm going to have 3 large paperbacks and 1 hardback because I can't buy the rest of the series in hardback and I can't buy the last book in large paperback. Why does this happen? Why? The second thing that kind of annoys me is paid promotions that booktubers do. Now, I want to specify that I am an advertising graduate, so I am very aware of when things are being advertised to me, and if you try and advertise something blatantly to me, then that will make me not want to buy it. I don't mind people getting ARCs. I don't mind people getting sent unsolicited ARCs to promote books. But recently I've had Thunderhead shoved down my throat to the point where every time I see a video from whatever month it was that that book was being promoted by everybody, I have to skip the first few minutes of the video because it's a paid promotion. They talk about it a little bit longer. And the second one that's going around now is The Bells by Donnie L. Clayton, which I'm probably not going to read, and just because everybody has it isn't going to make me want to read it. So those 2 very recent ones, but obviously I expect both of those to be good books. I have Scythe myself, I will have Thunderhead when it comes out in the UK. The Bells by Donnie L. Clayton, I will admit, has an interesting premise, although I probably won't read it myself unless I can find it cheap secondhand. But I remember late last year everybody received 2 books in a series, and the series was called the Blowback series, and it was about American football. And I know for a fact that at least 50% of the booktubers that received that book did not want to read it, because I've not heard anything about it since, and it is not the kind of books that the people who were given them like to read. And I know that, so I know that people are lying and saying that they love it when they don't. And that kind of really gets on my nerves, because at least with Scythe and Thunderhead, I've heard that they're good books and the premise does sound interesting. But those Blowback books, I don't think any of you actually liked them. And you only said that you were going to because you were paid. Enough of that. Question number 7 is what book or books do you feel should get more recognition? Now I have 2 books for this, and for 2 very different reasons. The first book I have shouldn't get more recognition, it should get more credit, I feel, and that is Twilight by Stephenie Meyer. Now, you're all out there saying that this is problematic and that it's so cringy and it's just a terrible, terrible book, but this is responsible for a lot of people's, mine included, love of reading when they got a little bit older. Because I used to read all the time when I was a kid, and then I picked up Twilight and I absolutely loved it and it renewed my love of reading. And I know it did a lot for all of you guys. I'm not saying it's a great book. I'm just saying that it meant a lot to me at the time and I really loved it. It did a lot for me as a person, so I'm not going to say it's trash. I'm not going to say that I don't like it and that I hate it and it's the worst book ever, because at the time that I read it, when I was a person that this book was intended for, I really loved it. and it did a lot for the YA genre as a whole and a lot for a lot of you guys, and I don't feel like we should diminish that just because we are older and read different books now. The second book are Any Book by Kevin Brooks. He is a UK author and he wrote Lucas and also Candy and another book as well that I don't remember, but I really liked his books and I don't think I've heard anybody talk about them at all, so I'd like to see some more recognition for Kevin Brooks. I will admit I did get this copy, but I haven't reread this book yet, so it could be problematic in content and not a great book now, but at the time I loved it and I expected more people to love it too. So I guess I want to see a little more of Kevin Brooks around. I can't remember what Lucas is about, but I think it's some sort of bad boy who meets a good girl, but he's kind of not worth saving and really like down about everything. And Candy is about a prostitute. So I really enjoyed these books and I'd like to see more people talk about them. Question number 8 is, what are your feelings on censorship and banning books? And personally, I think it's stupid. I think any sort of censorship is stupid. I think that as human beings, we should be able to make an educated and informed decision about what we ingest, whether that be through television, video games, or books. I do support age ratings on games and films and things like that, so if they were introduced onto books, I wouldn't mind. It may be a good thing. However, censorship and banning books I don't support because I feel like we should be able to make educated decisions about the media we consume, and in the way of children accessing this media, I believe that parents should be a good enough parent to know what media their children are accessing and make informed decisions about the kind of things their children should be reading. And the same goes for teachers. They should have the freedom to decide what they believe is worth teaching to their students. And question number 9 is, who do you tag? And I normally only tag 3 people, but this time I have 4. So the first person I'm going to tag is Kelly from Velvet Library, and then Maxine from Impossible, Serena from A Wandering Mind, and Eva from Book Cave. I hope you guys all have fun doing this tag. So that's it from me today. I hope you like this video, and I hope you don't all hate me for the little bit of a rant I got going on about paid promotions and things like that. It's just something that gets on my nerves, especially with being an advertising graduate and being like so aware of what this is intended to do, that it just gets on my nerves a little bit. As usual, please don't forget to like this video if you liked it and subscribe if you want to, and if you head into the down bar below you'll find a link to my Instagram, Goodreads and Twitter if you'd like to follow me on any of those, and also a link to my Bookish body butter and candle website and the Instagram for that if you'd like to check any of that out. But that's it from me today. Bye!